Hi guys, I just wanted to recap the information that we went through in our session to hopefully help you to remember. So the first key bit of information that we went through were these terms for describing fibres. So the first one was properties. So when we're talking about properties, it's something physical or chemical about that fabric or fibre. So a physical quality. So that might be stretch, absorbency, breathability, heat resistance, wrinkle resistance. They're all examples of properties. The next one is characteristics. Characteristics is to do with how something feels. So this could be softness, drape, which is to do with how something hangs, texture, weight, literally how heavy it is or lightweight, the shine of the fabric. The next one is function, so what the fabric is designed to do. What is its purpose? Is it for keeping warm? Is it to repel water and be waterproof? Is it something that allows the body to move, providing movement? Something maybe stretchy. And the final one is aesthetics. So aesthetics is all to do with how something looks. So it's usually visual. That could be colour, it could be a glossy sheen or something that a fabric has. It's the visual appeal. We can use the word aesthetics as a describing word for fabric. So a fabric has a really good aesthetic. Then we started talking about fibre classification, and we just touched on natural fibres and got started with those. So I'll just run through what we actually did with that. So fibre classification, these are the categories of fibres. So we have natural, manufactured, synthetic fibres. Then under this category, we also have smart materials and modern materials. Natural fibres then, we looked at this revision resource that I prepared for you. It's on the Google Slides that I'd shared with you already. This is just a real overview of these particular natural fibres. Really good to know the sources. Hopefully the visual aid helps you to remember. The two main things to be aware of here are the difference between a fibre that comes from a plant source and a fibre that comes from an animal source. So a natural fibre that comes from a plant source is known as cellulose, so it's from cellulose, and the animal fibre, so a fibre that comes from an animal, is made of protein. So it's just important to know the difference between the two because you can group them together. Cellulose fibres tend to have these properties and protein fibres tend to have these properties. So really useful to know the difference between the two. There are new developments that are always happening where we're trying to create more sustainable sources for our fibres. And some of these that we discussed were bamboo, pineapple, banana leaf, and then we even spoke about alginate fibres that are coming from seaweed. So it's really useful to know the developments that are happening in industry. So we talked about cotton. I'll just read through these performance characteristics as we go. So the first one is absorbency. So cotton is highly absorbent, making it comfortable to wear as it absorbs perspiration. It also takes dye well due to its ability to absorb liquids. There are particular dyes that are only suitable to cotton, and that is because of its absorbency. And then there's different types of dyes that are specifically made for synthetic fabrics, and a lot of the synthetic fabrics aren't absorbent, so such as polyester. So the absorbency of cotton makes it really good for certain household items such as towels and bedding, also clothing during hot weather. We want to wear things like cotton and linen because they're breathable and because of the absorbency, they absorb the moisture from our skin, from sweating, and that makes them comfortable to wear. When we wear synthetic fabrics, it can make us feel clammy and even more sweaty, so it's not comfortable. Stretch. Cotton is relatively strong and durable, especially when dry. Just important to note here that when cotton is wet, it is not very strong. It withstands frequent washing and wear, making it suitable for everyday garments. A lot of the clothes that we'll wear most days are made of cotton, often 100% cotton, like denim, so jeans or anything like that. Handle is the word that we use to describe how something feels. So how it handles is where it comes from when we touch it. So cotton has a soft, smooth handle. The comfort level can vary depending on the weave or finish. Sometimes we might have treated cotton in a certain way, like when we brush it. So you can get brushed cotton, which is almost fluffy. It's very, very soft. Elasticity. So cotton has poor elasticity. It doesn't stretch, tends to crease easily. So this can affect garment aesthetics, so how the garment looks, and performance unless it's blended with other fibres like elastic. We talked here about the fact that polycotton is a very common blend of fibres because of the mix of properties that you get when you blend cotton for absorbency, therefore comfortability on your skin, that kind of thing. And then you mix it with the polyester, you get something that's not as easily creased. So crease resistance of the polyester mixed with the cotton makes it a bit easier to iron and care for. It also actually makes it a little bit cheaper because cotton's a bit more expensive than polyester, but we talked about the fact that polycotton is a very common combination. Then flammability. Cotton is flammable and burns quickly unless it's treated with flame retardant finishes. Resilience. It has low resilience, which means it creases easily and doesn't recover well from wrinkles. That's why I think I was talking about how I hated ironing cotton shirts, and it was a pain. So yeah, it's not got good recovery from wrinkling. Garments often require ironing, not the kind of thing you could just get out of the washing or out of the dryer and wear straight away. Thermal properties. Cotton is breathable and cool to wear. It allows heat and moisture to escape, making it ideal for summer clothing, not insulating unless it's layered. So it's not going to be keeping us warm unless it's multiple layers of fabric. Shrinkage. It is prone to shrinking. So if it's washed at a high temperature, it's likely that it will shrink unless it's pre-shrunk or blended. So pre-shrunk, we might pre-wash a fabric before it's even made into a garment, so that any shrinkage that's going to happen will happen before it's actually sewn up into an item of clothing or whatever it is meant to be. So we might pre-wash to get rid of shrinking. And the other thing, obviously, blended, maybe blended with another fibre, and that might stop it from shrinking, like polyester. Biodegradability and sustainability. So cotton is biodegradable and renewable. However, conventionally grown cotton has a high environmental impact due to water and pesticide use unless it's organic. Okay, so that's all that we covered in this session in terms of the theory content. I will keep recording these each week. Let me know if they're useful or not, and I'll see you all on Friday. Bye.